Welcome back to Sound FM, where you get your sound, where you get your music, where you get your
Maveric and the Samurai. Maveric and the Samurai. Come everybody, sing with me. Let's take down the big machine. Google Pro, we're all gonna die. Oh, where'd you go? I was waiting outside of Google AI HQ, don't you know? Have my back when we attack. Oh, here we go. Don't be surprised when we cry. Oh no. Now give me a roar.
Hey,
right, brother.
Okay, so we're doing video now.
Yeah.
This we never thought was gonna happen.
Ever.
So
Getting big.
yeah,
Or just really in debt.
yeah, or just deeply in debt and depressed.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. But yeah, so this is our first episode doing video.
Yep.
Because I got my hands on a bunch of free cameras. But I can't find the batteries for one of them. So
Right. Shout out Chuck E. Cheese for the free cameras. This is
Hey-o.
awesome. Do you think this is weird? Do you think there's a lot of like conspiracies on Chuck E. Cheese? I don't know if you've ever seen them or heard of them, like the pizza thing. How
they like basically use like leftover pizza?
yeah, and then I just
Yeah, I heard
remake
about
it
that.
or whatever. That's I don't know. I feel like everyone I know. Did you ever have a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese?
I think maybe once.
And they're like still in business, but you never hear people talk about them.
Dude, it's a money laundering scheme.
It's got to be. That's what
Yeah,
I mean. There's
it's a money
something
laundering
there.
scheme.
Just dump it into that freaking sewer rat. You know what I mean?
He's a sewer rat.
I
now?
guess. I mean,
Is that what he is? I
Well-
thought he was a mouse.
is he a mouse?
Yeah, Chuck E.
Maybe.
Cheese
Is
is
he a rat now?
going after mouse or cheese. Mouse chasing the cheese.
Hmm.
Think about it.
I call it Charles Cheddar, so I don't know what you're.
Charles.
He's grown up now.
It's just his last name, Cheddar.
Yeah.
Cheese.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Charles Palace.
That's a hot take.
Charles Kitchen.
Agree to disagree.
I guess.
Whatever.
Womp womp. Anyway, now you guys
Um,
see how.
Now you know why we didn't do video up to this point. There's nothing wrong with your computer or your phone or your TV. I'm just that fat.
We're just weird.
So if the camera didn't add 10 pounds, that's just me.
That's good.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Adding 10 pounds to the camera.
after
The samurai.
add 6 pounds to the scales, to the women's scales before you leave. 600. You know. That was
I was listening to our last episode.
Yeah,
that
I
was
know.
So good.
So we're recording like a couple days after.
Yep.
We released the latest episode.
Yep. So I'm Maverick. That's the samurai.
Yeah. I was considering what we need to do for like intro,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like trying to look into like animation and stuff. It's a lot more complicated than it looks,
It sounds complicated.
and that's
Yeah, I kind of
didn't even say
expected.
anything about it.
Well, I expected to kind of walk into I don't know, a studio, a green screen.
Why would you think that?
You were like, hey man, I'm gonna have a green screen in a studio.
When did I
And
say that to you?
Maybe I dreamed that.
You probably did.
I think
Your
you thought
dreams
about
are
it.
very vivid. You came in one time, like with a battle axe and a fresh, clean cut shave.
That is true. Well, it
And
was
you were like, where's the enemy? Where's the English? I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm ready to kill some English, and you're trying to do a Scottish accent, but
it's really
you know how
bad.
that does.
Yeah.
So he thought he was Braveheart for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
He thought I was.
I thought you
know.
were Steven on that.
Steven.
You remember?
Stephen is my name.
That's who I thought you were. Or Hamish.
Hamish.
Mm-hmm. I
Taste
crush
of-
you like
taste
a
of
water.
manhood. You win.
I'll hold him down. That's
Yeah.
I thought you were.
You do it.
But I was only clean
I'll
shaven
hold him
because
down.
you told me, like, the day before, you're like, hey, I'm shaving my head.
Yeah.
And then
I shave my head every couple days.
Oh. That makes a lot more sense now. I thought it was like a new thing. Well, I felt bad. You ever have like a friend that like there's like, yeah, like I enjoyed my birthday and they've known them for too long that like you can't like, yeah, when is that? You can't ask them. You just have to like assume. So I really didn't know if you had like freshly shaven your head.
What do you mean?
It's like that episode of The
I
Office
haven't
when they're
sh-
like,
I
Stanley's got a mustache. I'm like, no, he doesn't. They're like, yeah, he's got a mustache. And then there was like this whole like
But a shaved head is a pretty noticeable thing.
You'd think it.
I used to have an afro. Like, you knew me at the afro time.
Right, and I'm really bad with like the timeline, so I wasn't sure when that
Look,
had
just
happened.
say you have a bad memory and move on.
Yeah. Yeah, I should do that.
Anyway.
Waiting to crack this bad boy
Waiting
open
to
at
crack
some
this
point.
can. Oh, gosh, my drink is over there.
Oh, hope you had a frame if you get it. Which one
Should I
is
go
it?
get it?
Oh, is it that bit? Oh, I don't know. I don't know, Matt. It's really far away.
Should I move on?
Should I move? Should he?
Should I go get it?
Leave in the chat if you think Matt should get up.
Man, no!
No, they said no. Mm-hmm. That's like those things when like they say like news anchors are like wearing like Bermuda shorts, but they just have like a suit and like a shirt on and a tie. I'm actually wearing shorts though.
I'm not, because I came right from work.
Our two sponsors that should sponsor us but haven't yet is Monster Energy and AKG microphones.
AKG microphones. I mean, we're using mostly Rode products though.
Well, you are. Well, the sound and everything
setup.
is coming to you from that.
Yeah, Rodecaster Pro 2.
Yep.
I like
Oh, and Bahama Bucks. That would be an amazing sponsor.
Wow,
Please and thank you.
what would they sponsor us?
Dude, I
like
don't
they're
even-
just giving us shaved ice? We don't even have one near here.
First of all, it's called Snow. Second of all, they have merch. And third of all, they could ship it.
Clearly, but
They could
what?
ship the syrup. They send it that way.
I mean,
It'd be awesome.
I'll take your word for it.
Anything would be cool.
I'll take your. I don't know. I don't know
Give us
anything
anything
about
for
it.
free.
But I'll take things for free all the time.
I love free, brother.
Anyway, so today we're gonna be talking about scary movies.
It is spooky season.
Satan season.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about.
Run from the devil. Huh?
All right.
Yep.
We're gonna talk about some of our favorite scary movies, which both you and I are. I mean, we're movie fans,
Right.
I think, but I love horror movies. My wife is not a big fan of
Mhm.
horror movies. She loves scary books though. And
Really?
No, she really does. So she has this ability to like hyper focus through a book and like kill it in 12 hours. Like any freaking book.
Dang.
She'll just mow through it. And I never like that because my attention span is like the size of a pea. And so I really admire the ability to hyper focus and like just go through it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so she's very visually sort of she has a great imagination, so
Mhm.
she's able to kind of see everything happening in her head. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of reading, right?
So does she just like go there? Like, is she like, hey, like I'm blocking out everything,
100%.
or can she just like sit on the couch and then just
100.
like?
No, dude. So she'll like, if she's going through a book, I know to wait. Like I've just determined at this point to wait until she's done reading.
Like she's meditating, pretty much.
She is off on another planet.
Does she set you up with that, or does it just happen? Like you're just talking to her and you look over and you're like
No, I mean like, I'll sometimes go upstairs and like she'll be reading her book and I'm just like, okay, yeah, she's reading right now. I'm not gonna try and talk to her about anything.
the house is on fire, but you know,
Yeah.
we'll wait.
Yeah, no, I mean, she would be like, but why? You know,
Mhm.
what are you talking about? You know?
Yeah.
Like fire, burning, what about it?
It was all
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing goes through.
That's kind of cool though that she could do that.
It is, but it's a blessing and a curse, my friend.
Mm.
I mean, and I think she would say the same thing. She's super able to like hyper focus. She understands tropes really well too, which is I think very acute.
Oh, okay.
And she is acute. Anyway, but no. So I mean, she has this ability to kind of comprehend in a way that I don't. You know what I mean? And so the recent book that she read was The Descent. And I think you've seen the movie The Descent, right? Where they go into the cave system and they find those like weird, I mean, there's semi-human creatures that are crawling on the walls and stuff. You don't remember that at all?
I don't think I've seen that one.
You haven't seen that? It's
I've seen a lot of cave things, but not.
It is honestly an exquisite horror movie. It really is. Very, very good. But The Descent is a book. It was a book first. And it was written by a professional mountain climber. He was a ambassador or like an assistant during the Bosnian Democratic like apartheid. I don't. It was something that was extremely important in Bosnia that they just like. I don't know if they came about like during an election or there was a war kind of process. I don't know, but he was in Bosnia during that time.
Sounded pretty desperate. Keep going.
And so he wrote.
You know, I know a professional mountain climber guy we could consult tonight. Are you serious? Yeah, bring him in. You know, that's what it sounds like.
Who?
That's what it sounds like.
Oh my
like,
gosh!
Because you relate it to like some Bosnian like whatever. I just think it sounded funny. Like who could we ask? They're all dead.
They're dead.
Like, hey, what's that guy?
I got a guy.
You just look over and he's
guy.
You know, like him, like what?
Here I come on my way.
Or they were having like a retreat and talking about that, and he happened to like come and like, what are you guys talking about? You know, and they were like,
"Can you tell us about this?" Can you?
He's like, "Can I?"
Would I? But no.
Your camera stopped.
Did it?
Yeah.
Did it stop recording or did it turn
off? It said
off?
movie recording has been stopped automatically.
Ah, come on.
Are you out of battery?
No.
Memory card?
I think so. His name is Jeff Long, and he wrote like 5 books and then fell off the face of the freaking earth.
Or a cliff?
I mean, I don't think it was a cliff.
Oh, that would have been...
But he, so essentially he wrote The Descent, and he, like I said, I think he wrote like 5 books, but a lot of his books are like very religious in context. Like it basically The Descent is about these like human demon hybrids. About it's like this this sacred cult hidden inside a mountain, and it's called the Beowulf Circle. And they basically like worship Satan like hard.
Okay.
And like the whole premise of the book is, does Satan exist? And they basically like see this, you know, just like ravaged person who's possessed by the literal Satan, who was like comes out in the book and says, yes, I was cast out of Shekinah. I was created.
Oh my God.
I was created in Shekinah and cast out.
Dude.
I was the one. And so like they can, and like essentially they're like immortal, I guess, because they can body hop.
So like Nephilim type.
Yes,
okay.
It's like Nephilim Watcher type stuff. And so this, I'm straight up wondering, because like if this dude is super religious, but at the same time, like he's climbed Mount Everest dozens of times. Like he's led expeditions, like led people through on Everest. And so he literally like I'm seeing it from the perspective of like this guy probably like saw the top of the world and had a real encounter with God.
Hmm.
Like it's probably a difficult thing to look from the top of Mount Everest and think,
Not feel
yeah,
something.
there's no God, you know?
Yeah.
And so it sounds like it's one of those things to where he's probably pretty religious. I mean, his latest book was about people trying to find out if the literal Jesus of Nazareth was a thing, you know, like if he existed.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's he's got a lot of very religious texts, but it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And so like Lucy could not sleep. Like the night she finished, or the day she finished the book, she's like, I slept for maybe an hour that night. So like that's what I mean by like hyper focus. She couldn't stop thinking about it.
But you said this guy like fell off the face of the earth after he made these books. Like is he dead or what?
I don't know. He's not. I don't think he's dead. I'm pretty sure he's like a sports writer or something now. He writes for a column or a newspaper or something. I don't know, but he's no new books since 2015, 2019, something like that.
It's weird. I thought like he died and it was from like falling off like a cliff. Like that would have been.
I don't think so.
It's kind of like one of the, like you would just expect it, you know. Like, oh my God, how'd he
prophecy.
die? Like he was a professional mountain climber. How do you think he died? It's like when the Queen died. There was someone that I was talking to, and they were like, I was like, oh, I'm like, oh, Queen's dead. You know, and they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, she was like 104, I think, 103. You know, and they're like, oh my God, how'd she die?
Right, what do you mean?
Like, what are you talking about? It was a bungee jumping accident. What do you think happened?
What do you think happened?
Yeah, she crashed her Corvette out there.
Going
Trying to drive on the wrong side of the road.
10 miles an hour.
Yeah, going Mach 5.
Going Mach Jesus.
Smacked right in the Big Ben. Anyway.
They were fine with it, though. That clock tower hasn't worked since the 1800s.
But it started after they smacked it. They hit in the microwave, you know?
It started right away.
Like, wow. It's like, so, I mean, wasn't all bad.
Wasn't all a loss.
You know.
Good gracious.
Hey, yeah. Anyway. Pour one out for the Queen. Anyway.
But, so...
I'm going to have to watch this movie. It sounds awesome.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. The book is scarier, like, somehow.
Well, like, imagination, man, plays a huge part. And not just from, like, that aspect, but, like, thinking, like, if you ask someone, like, hey, what's the most terrifying thing you can think of? And then you put that into words, and then your brain just goes there. It's, like, a different experience for everybody, which I think is awesome.
Well, and he's even going into, like, in the book, he's even talking about, like, the, they're essentially, like, servants, but they basically, like, possess the body of a willing supplicant, okay? And, just, like, I guess, like, continually ruin this dude's body. And there was one, I think she told me in the very beginning of the book, she was like, there was a climber coming out and his body is just shredded. Like not in the muscular sense, but
like just,
not jacked.
Right.
But like just cut up. Like his leg is held on by a piece of skin. Like it's intense stuff. But it's I don't know. It's interesting. I want to read it. I haven't read it yet. But she told me a whole bunch about it, and she's got to sit there and talk about it. So, yeah.
She's done with it though.
Yeah, she finished it.
You should read it. When you're done, let me read it. Then we can all freak out.
Then we can all lose our crap.
This is a kind of a small. It's a segue a little bit. My dad and I were talking about this, and kind of like your take on it. You were talking about, like, in this book at least, that, like, having a willing supplicant.
Yeah.
And like they kind of like host, or it's the host and they kind of, feed off of it or whatever.
Right.
Or it could be a very deep question.
Mm-hmm.
But what are your thoughts on people who, like, believers, Christians, and like the demonic realm? Like, do you think being a Christian gives you a type of protection of sort from that, or do you feel like that no matter what, that can come upon you in a sense?
Are you saying so? Like, just the butt end of that? Are you saying like, it's kind of a happenstance that it can
I've
like take you down type of thing, or
what kind of brought it on? I'm like, I've always had a problem with people being like, yeah, like, and not a problem, I guess it's just always kind of like bugged me
Okay.
when someone is like blames the devil
Oh,
for
yeah.
things that are happening.
Yep.
Or blames the devil for something that happened.
Well,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
was there more?
It's just like that concept. I know it could go very deep, but that concept.
So, my standpoint on that, humans have this innate need to place blame on something. They're like, you ruined my life because of this.
Mm-hmm. My bad.
While actually deflecting any kind of blame from themselves.
Mm-hmm. Avoiding conflict.
Well, I mean, not necessarily even avoiding conflict, because saying you did this, like accountability, I would agree. But saying even like you did this, that's a conflict. Like that's addressing it.
Sure.
But one of those things where like what you said, accountability, yeah, 100%. Because I can't be wrong, obviously. You know what I mean? Like this can't be my fault. And even with what we were talking about earlier, that could be something that is my perspective. Could be wrong. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Okay. I'm not one of those people who will say absolutely not. This is the way it is. Okay.
Which is tough because sometimes perception is reality, and that's a hard thing to like.
No, 100%.
You know,
100%. I saw this video with Theo Vaughn, and gosh, what's his name? I can't remember his freaking name. He's 7'9". And
yeah.
What's his? Do you remember his name?
No, but I know who you're talking about.
He's like a self-help guru or something.
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins.
Yep.
Tony
got
Robbins.
hands like
yeah,
in shallow hell.
Yeah. God, you have a big noggin. Thank you for noticing. But no, straight up. So he was like, let me give you a little test. He's like, look around and find everything that you can that is brown. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Close your eyes. Tell me all the things that are red.
Your camera stopped.
Gosh dang it! And he's like, tell me everything that you saw that's red. He's like, you can't tell me a single thing, can you? He's like, no.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, not at all. He's like, okay, let's do it again. Pull all the things that you think that you see red. Just 3, 2, 1. Tell me all the things that you saw that were black. And he's like, yeah, not a single thing. So he was like, why do you think that you were able to tell me everything that you were looking for that was brown, okay, but not red, because I wasn't looking for it, right? And then he was like, you probably even took some of the things that are not technically brown and counted them as brown to make yourself feel good. He's like, yeah, that beige, wall behind you, 100%. He's like, and with the red, he's like, you probably found some stuff that's mahogany that's not actually red to make yourself feel better again, right? And he's like, absolutely. He's like, so we base our perception around what we're looking for, and we basically give supporting details to support that perspective.
Yeah.
So like that's 100% a thing. Like I can't say that it isn't.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a part of me that wants to be pissed at this person, right? But then maybe there's a part of me that's like, you know, maybe this is my problem. So like that duality of, you know, screw you, but I mean, hey, I'm not perfect. It's not something that everyone has.
It's a tough, it is tough. And yeah, like I love exercises like that because it is like, if you're looking for it, you're going to find it. And people say that all the time. If you're looking for the joy, if you're looking for the negative, you will find it. And I believe that with like, kind of to circle back, like with the demonic realm, and we've talked about it. Like if you're looking for it, you will find it.
Yes.
I have zero interest in touching a Ouija board. I have zero interest in going into a place that like feels demonic.
Dude.
Like forget it. Like I don't want, because I know it's real and I accept that it is reality and that it's there.
Not even close. Not even close.
But I've like, for the sake of the argument, it was just this person who's my mom, like before she passed, and she was so worried about like she was worried about her soul and worried about she's like, and it was almost humorous because the stuff that she felt bad about was like things she did as a kid.
Okay, yeah.
Like it was like, you know, and it was like, it wasn't like smoking or drinking or anything like that. Like she was like, I used to pretend to be like, she used to like pretend to be like a bad soldier, like when they would play games and stuff like that. Like she would pretend to be like the enemy. And she was so like, and she almost didn't want to tell me. Like she was like, I would pretend to like, she didn't want to tell me. And I was like, Mom, I was like, you've come this far, you've trusted the Lord this long. Don't let the devil in right now. Like, don't allow that, you know? Yeah. And it just made me think, and I've always like, it's just always bugged me because like, for the sake of the argument, like to make it quick, I'm just like, why be a Christian if you have to worry about demonic possession? Why be a Christian if you have to worry about the devil like waiting all the time and like can just attack you and attach to you, and then like there's nothing you can do about it? And I'm like, there has to be a purpose and a reason. Like we have a protection for being a child of the Lord, you know?
I think in a measure, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. Everything comes down to choice. Absolutely everything. We talked about this before. Everything comes down to choice. And there are such things that our choices invoke that allow the enemy to have a foothold in our lives. Okay? And I know that you've seen this. I've seen it too.
Yeah.
Okay? We let things like lust in. We let things like intrusive thoughts in. We do something stupid. Like it's a real thing, okay? But that's something that the enemy uses to bring us further away from God. It's not that the enemy wants to kill our soul. The enemy wants to take away the joy of God
and separate. Yeah.
Yeah, we are the apple of his eye. We are his joy. You know, we are his beloved. So anything that the enemy can do to bring us further away from that, he'll do it.
Yeah.
And so, like, whether it's that intrusive thought, whether you're looking at someone's butt, you know, like, it's a thing.
He must work out.
He must work out. No, but I mean, I don't mean to say it like that, but that's a thing. That's a thing that
makes sense.
Especially us as dudes, like, we deal with.
Yep.
And so, like, it's not necessarily a matter of protection versus that, okay?
I guess I was thinking about more in the extreme. Like what you bring up is a great point. Like absolutely. And I think like it just, I guess I was thinking of that at like my mom's worry was like here at the end I could fall victim to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I never repented for this.
Right.
You
and
know,
I'm like,
so let me put up something interesting, okay?
Yeah.
One of my wife's friends, very important to her, had a heart attack, okay? And he actually passed away for, I think, 3 minutes or something. And then they revived him. He's a Christian man. He's been a Christian for a long time. It wasn't always, but he became a Christian later in life. When he died, he said that he like saw shadowed figures, like, and they were dragging him. They were trying to drag his soul to hell
during his
death. And he's
Bruh.
like I said, he's a saved man.
And he was saved during this time.
Yes. Like, this was only a couple years ago. And so,
Jinky.
like, since we've been married, and so he shows up and he's talking about it, and he's like, man, if you do not have his name on your lips, like, there's no telling, like, up to that very point, like, there's, like, the enemy's trying to get you. And again, it's not something that he wants you for the sake of you.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't give a crap about you. He cares about taking the joy of the Lord away. He wants to tear apart the joy of the Lord. He doesn't want anything to do with that. Like, and it's crazy too, because you look at even like Bill Weiss, who was taken into hell in a vision at one point in his life for 23 minutes.
Yep.
And he wrote a book about it. Everything that he saw, everything that he experienced, you can find it in the Bible. And so, like, it's I know that we're getting super religious and stuff, but we're religious people. Like, let's just be honest about that. And we're not apologetic about it. So I'm not sorry that we're talking about this, because this is something that's interesting to both of us. But, like, this is a reality for us. And so, like, even if you don't believe in this, like, it's real to us. It's never been something that has been unreal in our lives, has ever been proven to be wrong. Every single time we try to fight against it, it chases us down.
Right.
You know, like, this
Very true.
This is not something that will ever leave our lives. So with that, I don't think that, I think we do have a measure of protection, but even a evangelist that you and I both know was attacked on the steps of, I don't even know if he was going into a church or if he was going into some building, and there was a long series of steps, and he was attacked. He was literally thrown down the steps, and could not breathe. There was, I think there was some kind of fluid and stuff in his lungs.
Jeez.
So, like, who knows, man? Like, these are forces that we are at the mercy of regardless. Like, regardless of our protection, regardless of what they want from us, like, we're at the mercy of God. And if the enemy comes after us, he's our only way out.
Right. I think that's where it's like, it's kind of tough to know, because you're saying, like, up until, like, the end, like, you have to, fight for that. And it's kind of like, there comes a point, I guess, like, seeing it happen, like you saw it, like, with your dad, like, seeing that point, you think, like, I mean, we're not God, we can't think like he thinks, of course, but you think of, like, what is the truth? What is real? And is it like, like, hey, you fought a good life, like, rest? Or is it like, has the fight just begun? Like, and then at the end, like, there's this, like, period of trying to, I don't know, like, that's the part that, like, is just hard for me to, like, wrap my brain around, is just the, like, and not saying that, like, it has to be as extreme as, like, demonic possession, or has to be as extreme as, like, you're talking to someone, then all of a sudden, like, Satan speaking through them. I don't mean it necessarily like that, but to me, it's almost like, what's the point of, like, salvation, or what's the point of trusting God if even at the end you have this you know, like basically
Fight
there's
for
like
your soul.
yeah, and like
Yeah.
it might work, it might not. Like it's just like wow, like what has all the work been for? Does it just give you a better chance at the end? Like I don't know. It's hard to know.
And I don't know. That's a definite, um, I guess, contention.
It doesn't like you. I'm not checking the time, I promise. I'm making sure like the camera stays on. Yeah. Scary movie, yeah.
That's a definite contention.
Yeah.
Is you know, is it really worth it? And what are we doing, right?
I just don't
I
think
will-
anyone can know.
No, and 100%. But I will say that, like, regardless of if I'm right or wrong, okay, I don't feel like I've wasted my life
Nope.
because of it.
And I think there should always be a pursuit of anything.
Well, I don't think I'm worse off.
No.
Like,
No.
the things that I never did, like in quote unquote living, I never desired to do anyway. And so, like, I saved myself until marriage. A lot of people don't. Whatever. I did.
Mhm.
Okay? That was a desire of my heart. And, like, don't get me wrong, there weren't too many people trying to get in there. But that, I'm just honest. Like, but that was my desire. And so, like, I don't think I missed out on anything
Right.
because of it.
No.
No,
I think that's a great point. Like the having the at the end of it, like we all have, whether you take the religious factor in it or not, like we all have, like we have to live with our own choices. Like it's our journey no matter what.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like someone's like, hey man, I went through a really rough past and now I have to deal with this and this and this. Like that's their journey. And like, I'm so thankful I'm healed from it and everything. Like, okay, great. But there's also like kind of the unsung hero that is just like the ones that didn't even touch that. Didn't even touch that. Didn't even go near it. Like we're just stayed on the straight and narrow, or at least like avoided some of that stuff, because yeah, it is something that you'll always have to, once you experience something like that, you always have to fight against it.
Yeah.
Always. It's
Yeah.
always going to be something. People talk like drug addiction, alcohol addiction, like people talk about it often.
Right.
That like whether or not I've been this long sober or this long drug free, I know what it did.
Right.
And I know how it made me feel. And I will never forget that feeling. And
Yeah.
I think that's something that you hear people go through that and you're like, man, like that sounds awful.
Right.
That sounds like a terrible daily fight to have
Right.
to go through, you know?
Yeah, even from a humanistic perspective.
Right.
Like that's a terrible life to lead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, whether or not, you know, I mean, because at the end of it, we're gonna have to face judgment anyway.
Right.
Like we're an unrighteous people.
Mhm.
It's not even by our own we can't gain righteousness
Right.
past what Jesus gives us.
Mhm.
And so 24 elders up in heaven are casting crowns at Jesus' feet. Those crowns being authority, every authority that's given to them, they're casting at his feet because it's his authority anyway.
Yeah.
And so like nothing has been gained by our own ways.
Right.
Like and it says like faith without works is dead,
Mhm.
but that basically is saying like faith without living through it is dead.
Yeah. Just
Like
words.
if you're not living your life by the faith that you profess,
void.
what's the point?
Right.
And so that doesn't mean do what you do, okay?
Mhm.
That's not how you gain anything. But it's crazy to me that we feel like we can accomplish something when all he's basically trying to say is like, let me love you.
Mhm.
Let me have a relationship with you. I died so that you can know me. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, it's like you and I talked about being like a relationship being transactional nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's just not the case. So it's like, if I do this long enough, like God will give me extra grace.
Right.
And it's like, that's just not how.
That's not how grace works.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Good stuff.
Welcome to the religious pod.
Descent.
Yeah. So
I'll have to read it and watch it.
we'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
But so favorite horror movie for you? What do you think?
That's a tough one, man. I've been racking my brain a little bit. There's concepts of movies. I really like the way like stories are told, and then also like if they're just set up just right, it's like this would be really scary. If you look at like Blockbuster, I think the best done horror movie, well, one of them, I guess, is Amityville Horror. Like that.
The Ryan Reynolds
Yes,
one.
that one. When he's just ripped for no reason.
Right.
He's just super jacked, and he's like a dad.
He's always been in good shape.
Yeah, that's true. But he's just like hardcore. He's like, I'm awake. It's 4:30 in the morning. Anyway, I'm the Green Lantern.
Woke up at 4 o'clock.
Did 57
pull up chin ups.
did 5 uppy downsies. Always do every morning. Then I hit the dojo
every day.
That's so great.
Then I
Take a shower.
I go into my dojo.
Then I take 47 supplements.
I take 47 supplement pills every single day. I don't even eat real food. I'm sorry, that's what we did on our last episode. We need to stop doing
So
that.
funny.
Because I repeated it so many times.
Dude,
like
it
we
was
did
so good.
47 supplements. I repeated that so much.
It was so good, though. That was funny. Oh, but yeah. But anyway, that one I think is done really well. But I think my favorite is The Strangers.
The 2009 one. Because they did a redo.
Right. It was good.
No, it wasn't.
I liked it.
No,
Yeah,
you didn't.
I did.
Come on.
I thought it was good.
It
There were parts.
It was bad.
There were parts that I definitely was like, nah, because the first one is just so like quaint and it's so simple and it just starts so well. And you're just like, oh my God.
It's very subtle. Yeah.
I mean, the cast of like 7 people total, and then they just made it like really good. And Liv Tyler did a good job in it, I thought. And I don't even know the guy's name. But that's the only movie I've ever seen her act in that I can think of.
Speedman or something? I don't know. But yeah, no, it's...
And Ryan Reynolds shows up.
I definitely think...
This isn't hot sauce.
I definitely think that that The Strangers was very good. I feel like it's something that we conceptualized because like watching it now, I like watching it with my wife. She's like, this is the dumbest movie I've ever seen.
I agree. Like there were parts like for sure. And like my dad, like, you know, growing up for him, like E.T. was like a scary movie.
Oh, okay.
Like when it came out, he was like, people were freaking out. He's like, I was babysitting these kids and I took them to see it and they were having nightmares and stuff. And then you watch it now, or Poltergeist even, which is kind of creepy still.
No, it definitely is.
But he was like, yeah, that movie, he's like, people were like doing stuff to themselves because they were so scared of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. And I watch it now and I'm like, ha, you know, sort of. But
yeah.
But they're just, I agree with you. Like there were parts, I remember when it came out though, I was like, if that really happened, that'd be so scary.
I think the movie that messed me up the most, because I was a teenager when I saw it, was Paranormal Activity.
I hated that movie. I thought it was so hokey and so like, I was like, okay.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Like Blair Witch came out and I'm like, get freaking real.
The documentary about people fighting. What's going on?
Just snot coming out. It's like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think they're in the trees. I think they're. I'm like,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is so fake.
And and it wasn't fake. Like she was legitimately scared. But I don't know. So I feel like, so I definitely understand where you're coming from with like this is stupid. But like I legitimately went home and like couldn't sleep after that. So like
It was a weird
at the time-
concept. It was one of those things that was kind of like, if there wasn't any understanding behind it, you're just like, oh, this is demons.
Right.
And so like pulls her out of the bed or whatever. Like, yeah, like from that perspective, I was like, but then I was just like, this is so fake.
Yeah.
this is so fake, and you
Okay.
can just tell.
No, yeah, and that I'm just saying like that was one that messed me up as a teenager. Did it go
You
off?
and I have been like, I think it stopped again. You and I are really good. So something that like you and I have always been just really good. This is what kind of connected us as friends, but just being really good at like like discover or not even discovering, but just like really recognizing bad acting.
Yeah.
And once bad acting exists, all credibility for the movie is gone, no matter what it is.
Well, so that's I wanted to be an actor.
Right.
Like obviously it was something
Acting!
obviously it was something that like that was the first thing I noticed.
It was a craft.
Yeah.
And I think it still is
Yeah.
for us deep down.
Yeah, I miss doing
Dude, it was fun. We should do an improv class together. I think we'd have a lot of fun with it.
yeah, I think maybe eventually we'll I mean once I get some freaking time, I just don't
They
now,
do.
I don't feel like I do.
They do them around here. I did one. I think I told you, like just for fun. Like
Yeah.
just wanted to see what it was about.
Yeah.
So I went to one. It was pretty cool. Everyone's pretty down to earth and has fun with it.
That's because most people who do improv and like theater and junk, they're very, very similar people.
Right. So it was like perfect. Like you kind of got to just like access that, and then they just go around the room. I don't know. Anyway, now I feel dumb. So thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Like I would never do something stupid like improv.
Yeah,
with you. It'd be so
everyone's
dumb.
dumb. who
Everyone's
does
a
that.
weirdo and says the same garbage. But yeah, that movie, Paranormal Activity. That to me, that's up there with like The Ring. Like when The Ring came out and everyone was freaking out. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I didn't think The Ring was very scary.
but there's been a few. If you want to know, you can make fun of me. There's two things that I think about with horror that scared the crap out of me as a kid.
Okay.
And the only one I can think of right now, there was this episode of Touched by an Angel. Do you remember that?
Oh my god.
And there's a guy in it. It's like a Halloween episode. And of course, like all Christian shows are just like, Halloween is the devil.
Shoot.
And yeah. And it was this like demon guy. And this guy is recalling the story. And he's freaking out and telling everyone, he's like, I looked over, I saw this car, and I see this guy in the back of the car, and I can picture his like silhouette right now. And he's like, and he looked back with these glowing eyes, and it shows this guy like,
Oh my
but
gosh.
he's like scary looking, like, whatever. And he's like, I knew I was looking at the devil. My dad was out of town. Me and my two brothers and my mom were sleeping in her room. And this is when we lived in like Louisiana. And I was
Yeah.
like 8, maybe a little younger. And I'm the only one awake. And I'm like, I'm gonna die. I was so freaking scared. And I was like, oh my God. Like,
yeah.
everyone wake up. But dude,
God help me.
I was freaking out.
You're right.
And I remember that. It was so scary.
So okay, you said you're one of the ones that you thought was good. So I'll say that as my first good one. It's not good anymore, but I guess my favorite kind of go-to horror movie it's got to be the classic Scream.
Oh, okay.
They're the horror movies that I keep going back to, and even the new ones are good. So
Mhm.
like, there's not been a bad Scream movie.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Right?
No.
She in Scream? No, that's I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah. They're all the same anyway. Who
Boy
cares?
Meets World did an episode and she was in it,
Oh, okay.
and her name was Jennifer Love Pfefferman.
Gosh.
For no, that was it. And they just kept making references to it. If you've never seen, you remember the books, Scary Stories?
I don't think so.
You don't remember those?
I don't think
They
so.
had like the really creepy animation, like not animation, but illustrations. And it was like, there was like 3 of them. And it was called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Oh yeah, so they were like those ones that like Shel Silverstein used to do, like the side here where the sidewalk ends and things like that, like that same sort of
Yeah, or like
illustration.
or like the big toe. You remember that? Like this, like they find like a toe in like soup or something.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so stuff like that. So that is a movie now.
I know.
I like it.
You do?
Yeah,
I didn't watch it.
dude. The animation matches like the illustrations in it,
Okay.
and they do a good job of the storyline. It was kind of like the new Jumanji, I guess. Like they do a really good job of like integrating that story, but they integrate different parts of it and kind of some elements to kind of some typical horror movie, scary movie elements to kind of make it all syncopated. But they pick kind of a few of the same stories.
Okay.
It's really good. I have it if you want to see it. It's really
so
good.
one of the ones that scared me because I think I read just one of those stories was where the girl thought she had a pimple and
It's in there.
spiders came out.
It's in there.
Oof.
Dude, it's in there.
That was scary. But we have to talk about this because it's a horror movie that you and I both love, and we cannot not mention it. The Mist.
Dude.
The Mist.
Oh my God. I'll never forget
So
watching
good.
we used to watch that all the
I
time.
love it.
Dude.
I love it.
Do you like it because it's good or because it's
I
funny?
love it both.
Okay.
Both. I love it because it's very funny.
It's hilarious.
There's something in the mist. Yeah. But we exaggerate a lot. Like we make fun. The things that we love, we make fun of. And so
And we kind of create like this like different reality that
Yeah.
like they were.
Yep.
And then we hear them again like that was never in there.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
just
We
created it.
exaggerate everything.
Everything.
And so The Mist was amazing. I think the scariest bits in The Mist was when they're going to the pharmacy.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
And the freaking thing is
those-
in there and he's like,
those
yeah,
spiders.
dude. Oh.
Yeah, they're literally like they laid eggs underneath their skin, and
It
the
came out of them
MP
while they were alive.
the MP has like they look like boils, but they just start popping open and
Yeah.
alien spiders come out.
MPs, like I have this weird connection with them because there was these movies that were called Left Behind movies, and they were all about the rapture.
Yeah,
And my church made us watch them pretty much and just scared the crap out of us of the rapture. And
AG
so
church for you.
military police were all in there, and that was who was coming after the Christians and stuff. And it always just scared me. But yeah, The Mist, there's two scenes that made me super uncomfortable.
Okay.
One of them is when, I'll say the first one, is when they're out there, like the first group walks out and he's like, can you tie this rope around you and walk out? And he's like, I'll get to the truck.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And he's like, he's like, give me your keys. And he's like, son, you got brass balls.
yeah.
And so he like walks out. That's not the uncomfortable part. But when they're holding the rope and and it goes like this.
Yeah.
Like he's up in the air.
Yeah,
So
it
like
starts
obviously
going
the
up.
creature like
Yeah.
grabbed him and took him, and they
Oh,
start
yeah.
pulling. There's like blood on the rope. I was like, that's weird. Well done. And then the second part is when that soldier, they like are blaming them for bringing that on, and so they like stab him,
Yeah.
and they're like basically walking, like handing him over
crowd surfing him.
to like give him as like a sacrifice
Yeah.
to this thing. That was super uncomfortable.
Yeah. It gets very religious in that book, but it's I mean similar to the podcast. But yeah, no, so I definitely it was just good. Thomas Jane.
Yeah,
Thomas Jane.
freaking great. The I can't believe there's like alternate endings to that movie, which I
Oh,
wish
I
they
know.
didn't do because it like changed it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
I was like, well, I mean, I get it, like 'cause it's alternate, but like it made it like, oh, they thought of a different ending and they actually like filmed it, like put it in there. Like just pick one and not.
Well, in the ending that you and I are thinking of,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the ending in the book, but it's a better ending.
The one that's in the movie where he like kills everybody
Yeah.
except himself. And
I
Yeah.
don't think that's the
no,
book.
I think you're right. But yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Ooh, speaking of scary stories to tell in the dark, the one that I remember was the high beams. Do you remember that story?
No. Like I said, I think I only read like a couple of them.
The scariest one was this girl leaves like a game, like a sports game, and she noticed that she's like lives like on a dirt country road or something like that, like country road, really far away. And she's driving and like taking these turns and stuff, and a car followed her out of the parking lot, and he randomly turns on his high beams, and then we'll turn them off. And she'll like take a left turn, he follows, and then turns him on again.
That one is an urban legend.
Oh, okay.
Because there's someone in the back seat.
Dude. And like, yeah, so like I remember reading that, and she's like, so she gets to her house, runs, call the police, and freaking out. And this guy comes out, he's like, no. He's like, there was someone in your back seat, and I was putting on the high beams to like scare
Every
them.
time I
and
put
I was
the
like,
high beams up, he would go back down because he thought someone was seeing
I was
him.
like, ah.
Yeah.
For the longest time, when I started driving, like I'd be like looking in the back seat, being like,
I still do it.
dude, I don't blame you. It's so smart.
All the time.
And your tires. Always check your tires.
Yeah, check the tires, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Every
I
time.
thought I was giving you some new advice. Bottoms up.
Every time I check it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I think that's about the end of it.
Yeah.
We wanted we wanted to talk about cloud seeding. We never get to the stuff that we want to talk about, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like I think we had a good conversation this time. But what?
You said this time.
That's the last one. Not good. But no. So
in a book.
Not read about it. In a book.
Half of our vocabulary is movie quotes.
It really
if
is.
people don't get the movie, like, why are these guys so weird?
It really is. But yeah, so we're gonna next episode we're gonna actually pick a freaking topic and talk about it. So we're at about an hour right now, and we've got a lot of videos to edit, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm already.
I'm pooped. It's 8 o'clock.
Okay, sorry, I turned it off. But we're back.
It's 8 o'clock right now, and
on a Tuesday.
But yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for joining us with our first episode of video, and we hope that we don't destroy everything in the process of editing. But we love you guys. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.